It's a very rare occurrence that Walt Disney Animation Studios would make a film that would have a cast of anthropomorphic animals. We've already seen them doing so in their cartoons with Mickey Mouse and the gang, and they've even included some talking animals in films like Bambi, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Alice in Wonderland, 101 Dalmatians, The Jungle Book, The Aristocats, The Rescuers, the list goes on. But when Disney would have nothing but talking animals in their movies, they can range from Robin Hood to The Great Mouse Detective to The Lion King. But then there was that one time that Disney incorporated the talking animals trope into computer animation. Chicken Little did that once, but then it failed with the critics. They tried it again a decade later, and it ended up becoming the 2016 film Zootopia, or Zootropolis, or whatever it's called, depending on your area.
This is apparently the animated film of 2016 with talking animals that seems to really stand out among the others, like Kung Fu Panda 3, The Secret Life of Pets, Sing, and this piece of crap. Especially considering how we haven't gotten a single animated film from Disney that would star an entire cast of sentient animals since Chicken Little. So now that we get to experience a big new world entirely run by anthropomorphic creatures, how did it do its job? Did it really try everything to be as big of a landmark as it could? Or is it as enjoyable as watching a savage predator eating innocent prey? I might as well start off with the message that this movie tries to deliver, which is to not judge a book by its cover, and that you can still be able to push your limitations aside and go far in life to achieve your goals. This could honestly be the best possible way to summarize the story. The movie is first thought to be some kind of buddy cop film where a police officer bunny pairs up with a flim-flammer fox and they both try to solve a very big case. It surprisingly remains at a very fast pace, which delivers a great amount of chase scenes to make it as exciting as ever, while the film's main focus is on the case and it gives the protagonist Judy Hopps a lot of development to go through as the film progresses, whether it's the pressure that the case has or how she constantly gets discriminated at the police department. However, as time passes through the movie, it gets so much bigger than anyone can possibly imagine, where it suddenly turns into this highly smart comedy that deals with prejudice, discrimination, and bigotry by taking predator and prey for a metaphorical example for the film to follow. I'm honestly shocked with how an animated film would actually discuss about a very serious kind of subject matter, even from a big-name studio like Disney. Here, it brings that message out in an inspiring way that makes the film so believable, relatable, and powerful. Honestly, I would have to be very proud of Disney for releasing this film at the perfect time, as this was out during the US presidential elections of 2016 before Donald Trump took over the office. That was a time when some candidates like Trump would use fear and all of the previously mentioned to gain voters. It even helps that I'm reviewing this film too, because this review was done at the same time of the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement, as this film could also count as a symbol against racism. But that's not all of what this movie is about. It also has a very unique concept where it explores all of the ideas it offers with the city of Zootopia, as well as how the world populated by anthropomorphic animals operates. From their origins as actual creatures, how they live among one another, the small things that can be slightly changed to fit a lot with their accommodation, how they maintain some of their functions and instincts even if they act like us, the list goes on. This is the kind of story that literally no one would ever expect from an animated feature made by Disney. But at the same time, this can count as one of the most spectacularly written stories in any animated film from the studio. While this movie discovers every single part of its concept with a whole world inhabited by sentient animals with lives of their own, the same thing can be said regarding the animation. I'm going to start off by saying that I have never seen animation this amazing in a computer animated animal movie since the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. This has to be some of the best background animation and production design ever presented in any animated film yet, displaying every area of its main setting and using these areas to its advantage to show both how the characters travel through the many areas to solve the case and how they live in those places. If that's not enough, the huge amount of detail that has been put all around to display a unique type of civilization is another thing to note about the animation. You think this is just your average city where every resident is a talking animal, but trust me, it's more than just that. You can see how the animators thought out every big or small element in the city of Utopia to make it look as amazing as ever. Not only that, but when you look at the characters, their designs still maintain the traditional Disney look as if they came out of something like Robin Hood. The characters also have the same size and personalities of their respective species, while at the same time being portrayed as real-life people. Plus, the character animation is very well done as it is both smooth and agile, while the animals themselves have their own movements as well, like how the animals act like predators when savage, as well as how Judy uses her ears for her emotions, the slow-paced movements of the sloths, the way the elephants use their trunks, you name it, everything you see here is extremely well animated. Add all these elements together and you also get some of the best action scenes in an animated feature that are both intense and creative and are easily one of the highlights of the movie. You may think that Disney has mastered their own craft in recent years, but here comes this movie to bring you some of the best animation that they can offer.
And action!
I already mentioned how the crew behind this movie spent a lot of time and effort to bring the world of Utopia to life, but no one should be surprised about the effort that has been put into the development that the characters have to go through. Let's start with the main characters of the film, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. This film explores into who they are to describe not only themselves, but also the trials and tribulations they would have to undergo in order for Judy to achieve her dreams despite getting discriminated everywhere, and for Nick to live in the city whenever he can, which makes Judy the passionate and aspiring cop whose determination leads her to blow all expectations she would get from a bunny cop, and Nick the cunning smart aleck con man who mostly speaks his way out of any trouble. Not only that, but one of the strong points of the movie is the chemistry the two present, which is capable of delivering some of the entertainment and a lot of the emotions. Characters like Chief Bogo, Mayor Lionheart, Mr. Big, Clawhauser, and Gazelle are presented with who they are as characters while also being useful and serving a purpose by moving the main characters further to solving the case or even leaving them in danger. Also, there are more reasons why the movie contains a lot of great humor with characters like Yax the Yak and Flash the Sloth who do help deliver some extra entertainment for people to enjoy. There is one character that I'd rather not mention right now for those who haven't seen the movie as it would be considered spoiling, but I will say that there is a twist villain in this movie. Because hey, starting in Wreck-It Ralph, there seems to be a tradition where we've gotta have a twist villain in there. Honestly, this works very well in this film, making the message of prejudice and bigotry more effective. Also, I would like to say that Judy can even be considered a role model and seems very admirable in several ways possible. Like, she wants to really shift how several people think of bunnies and fulfill her destiny to become the first bunny cop of Utopia. But even when she achieves her goal, she still does her job to prove that discrimination is a bad thing and travels all around to make the world around her a better place. It is easily guaranteed that many people will appreciate Judy for it. With a really huge cast, it's surprising how it would have to take the people at Disney to balance the quantity and quality, and that is what makes these characters both lovable and unforgettable.
I want to be honest with you. Back before this film's release, many people, including me, were anticipating more for Moana because that one would bring back the spirit of the Disney Renaissance. But after seeing it, not only was it the true big Disney film of 2016, but never had I gone to expect it to be one of their greatest animated features that they have ever made. Zootopia is a phenomenal film by Walt Disney Animation Studios where they did the impossible and actually succeeded in making an amazing computer animated film with an entire cast of talking animals, evolving from a perceived mediocrity like Chicken Little and moving 11 years later to be at the top of their game with this movie. Not only does it contain an imaginative concept that takes that trope to a whole new level, a highly engaging story, and a very powerful message against prejudice, discrimination, and bigotry, but it also emphasizes the best elements of Walt Disney Animation Studios to prove how they are one of, if not the greatest, animation studio in the business. The witty humor of Aladdin, the spectacular computer animation of Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, and Frozen, and the giant cast of unforgettable characters of The Lion King, making this one of their best and also their smartest animated film that they have ever done. No matter what, this is an absolute must-watch for both Disney fans and animation fans alike. But funny enough, this may also be aimed more toward an older audience with the social commentary presented in the movie, since kids might not fully understand what it's trying to give out. As for the rating, it took me a whole lot of thinking. I never thought I would do something like this, but for a film of this caliber, I think it's pretty much worth it. Therefore, I am finishing this off by giving this movie a perfect 10 out of 10, and without a doubt, I am also gonna give it the first ever Dirksen stamp of approval, which I only honor to those that greatly understand the art of animated films and TV series, and are amazing examples of great writing, animation, and many more that bring the medium to a whole new level. I am so glad that this movie brought me further from my past experiences, where I had to sift through garbage after garbage, from a disgraceful cartoon spin-off to one of the most terribly written jukebox musicals ever created, to a movie where dinosaurs can't shut up. Hopefully the next movie or series I review will be better than those ones just like Zootopia. See you guys later. And remember, animation gives you power. Be proud. Be famous.